What's up, you guys? Welcome to the December 24th edition of NBA 3-Ball presented by Establish the Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher, getting ready to break down what turned out to be a 12-game slate with the Rockets news, and we're going to bang this out in 10 minutes. So let's talk strictly basketball today as we hop into the Hornets, who took the loss to the Cavs, who had a really big offensive night with 121 points. But really the big injury news of the day is Cody Zeller broke his hand, and he is going to miss time. So that means Bismack Biyombo is looking at a big increase to playing time, and poor P.J. Washington can't get it going after he thrived last year as a rookie in the preseason. So Brago called him out. It's really the first time Washington's been called out. So he's in a rut. He has to play better, and the opportunity is there for him. If not, we'll see guys like Cody Martin or even Miles Bridges soak up some time, but PJ could be in the doghouse. And really, one of the stories of the night was Terry Rozier hitting 10 threes. Early in the game, it was just catch and shoot festival, and then he was hot and was just chucking them off screens, just off transitions. He was just feeling it, as he should, with 42 points. Moving down to the Cavaliers, offense, man, 121 points from them, and it came from their guards. Interestingly, they had 73.9% of their buckets come off an assist. That's actually fifth in the last two seasons combined. That's 2 full seasons plus this one game. So very rare air to have that many assists, and just scrapping mid-ranges for the guards. 1 mid-range shot for Colin Sexton, 2 for Darius Garland. We talked about Garland previously. 30 usage rate in the preseason, cut out his mid-range. He looks like a breakout after a really rough rookie season. Colin Sexton cut out his mid-range around Christmas last season till the end of the season. He really picked up a big scoring bump. Moving to the Knicks here, we had an injury in this game with Immanuel Quickley getting a hip pointer. He was the backup point guard, and you notice Alec Burks getting 32 minutes. That's because he played the backup point guard after Immanuel Quickley went down, and he played kind of both guard spots with Alfred Payton also coming in and getting his minutes cut down a little bit because Burks was playing really well. So Alec Burks kind of on the scene again in fantasy, and I think we know that Tibbs looks like he trusts him. And we saw Mitch Robb and Nerlens Noel getting first half foul trouble, which led to 11 first half minutes of overlap for Obi Toppin and Julius Randle. 0 in the second half because they pretty much stopped fouling in the second half. Frank Ntilikina is pretty much done. RJ Barrett has really been the story. He had a great preseason, high usage, really driving well, really using screens, really moving off ball really, really well. There's a highlight on my Twitter feed if you want to check that out. He looks legit. I'm not ready to totally say he's out, ready to break out, but what a great game from him. Malcolm Brogdon, one of the stars of the show of the day, especially early on. 21, 7, and 8, 2 steals. Just he loves this offense. He's getting screens. He's had both his steals were so just nice ball pressure and converting on the other end. So full on Malcolm Brogdon season. We saw Oladipo play pretty well, and Sabonis is going to be a monster. This offense is going to really pop. Not too much to talk about with Miami and the loss. Bam had 7 turnovers, and Eric Spoelstra blamed the lack of passing. He said that Goran Dragic coming off the bench was a nice luxury for him, and he also said Mo Harkless is having conditioning issues. So we'll see if Precious could kind of cut into him, but yeah, nothing really to see here. Tyler Hero should be better next time. Magic-wise, but rough night for Vooch. Fournier had a really good game. Dwayne Bacon's not going to do much. We know that. Terrence Ross off the bench was big time. But we have nothing really going on here. We know Aaron Gordon looks pretty good too. So nice to see him get over the calf and hamstring injuries. Looks like Aaron Gordon's going to have a pretty strong season. The Wizards almost put off the upset behind Russell Westbrook's triple-double. 21, 11, and 15. 6 turnovers. Pretty nice game from him all around. Was shooting jumpers, again, which we kind of wanted to cut down. But it is what it is. And Bradley Beal, big time. Really productive game. Usage rate in the mid-30s. And he had 72.7% of his buckets come off an assist. That would rank second last year in all of his games. So certainly going to be a lot of easier shots for Bradley Beal, which is great. Still had 3 assists, had 4 steals. Certainly 0 concern about Bradley Beal. Does lose a little bit of ceiling. But yeah, Thomas Bryant had a quiet game with 10 and 5, but chalked it up to Joel Embiid. And we saw Isaac Bonga get the start. Looks like based on the early subs, he was a small forward, and Denny Avdia was the power forward with Davis Bertans on an 18 to 20 minute limit and subbing in behind him, but a lot of small ball in this game. We saw a lineup with Russell Westbrook, Ish Smith, Raul Neto, Troy Brown, and Robin Lopez. So really small, really mixing it up. We've seen Scott Brooks talk up Raul Neto. So he wants to get him out there and play these small lineups and play fast. We know that. We know that's the case. So, the guards should be able to produce a little bit. Ish Smith can find some playing time. But really the highlights here are Russ and Beal, and Thomas Bryant should be really busy. The Bucks couldn't get the victory against the Celtics, but nothing really too surprising. The big story here is the big minutes from the Bucks guys, 38 from Drew Holiday, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 36, and Middleton, 38. I mean, that's stunning. So if that continues, wherever you took them in your drafts, you're going to be pretty pleased with that. I don't know if that's going to happen the rest of the way, but certainly for Bud to do that is a really encouraging sign. To Boston, Jason Tatum, he's growing up right in front of our very eyes. And I mentioned this before. He had a 33.3 usage rate in the preseason. Guess what? He just had a career high usage rate tonight. So buying all day. Tatum's going to be a huge offensive output guy. We saw Daniel Tice get a surprising start, which he kind of got away from a little bit, and we saw Tristan Thompson play pretty well. So these centers could all kind of coexist. And Stevens had mentioned this in a previous episode, that he said he could play Tice at the 4, and he did. So we'll see, but certainly looking for answers to fill the void left by Kemba Walker. The Pelicans got a win against the Tampa Bay Raptors, and Eric Bledsoe had a really good game. I thought he played well both on and off ball from what I saw. Didn't watch this whole game yet. And Zion Williamson, it's 30 minutes in a tough matchup. Turned the ball over again. He does that way too much. That's going to really be the key to him being successful as far as a true season-long fantasy guy. And even in DFS, those turnovers can kill you in some formats. Brandon Ingram looked great. Lonzo Ball is going to be kind of hit or miss, which we kind of knew. And then JJ Redick hit big shots late. Raptors, bit of a mixed bag. We saw Pascal Siakam have a pretty solid game, especially early on. OG Anunoby couldn't get his shot to fall, but did bring the defensive stats. That's going to happen a lot. And Chris Boucher was kind of right on target for minutes in the mid-teens. Aaron Baines played a little bit more than I thought with 28 minutes, with not as much small ball as I had anticipated. And that may have been because Norm was just off. Maybe it was because he had the COVID-19 protocols or whatever it was. But yeah, rough night for Norm. And we see, again, tight rotation here for the most part as they went basically 8 deep. So nothing really changed there. That's going to mean a lot of big numbers for the Raptors. Oh, Bulls. Did not look great as Atlanta just ran all over them. And Wendell Carter Jr. actually apologized for his poor game. So, man, he's had a real rough start. He's talented. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. Patrick Williams locked it down, 33 minutes. He has a pretty solidified role there. Pretty good offensive game for me. And, yeah, Laurie played well. Rough game for Kobe White. He's going to have rough games. We've kind of known this is going to happen. Zach LaVine got in foul trouble, so don't worry about those minutes either. But, yeah, pretty straightforward. To the winners, again, just monster stat line here from Trae Young, who, he's having a bad preseason. Yeah, 10 and 12 from the field, 12 of 14 from the line for 37. Is that including me, Trae Young? Well, Cam Reddish had a pretty good run, and then Gallo looked pretty good in the front court. Collins foul trouble, which is fine. Ja Morant explosion with career-high 44 points and 9 assists and a block and 2 steals on 18 and 27 shooting. His shot chart is hilarious. Within 8 feet, he was 31 of 21. He had 4 little floaters just outside of 8 feet and then 2 3-pointers, and that's it. So, mentioned this in the preseason. He is going to get in the paint at will, and he's going to look to kick out. He's going to have a lot of these kinds of lines, a lot of efficient lines. We saw him change his shot type earlier in his career, in his rookie season. So, totally buying. Looks good. Lost here, obviously, but Valanciunas is good. We got nothing really to talk about here, but there's a lot to talk about with the Spurs, who did indeed go with the small ball DeMar DeRozan at the 4 lineup we've been hoping we see, and it happened. And oh my God, Keldon Johnson looks so freaking good. After the game, DeJounte Murray said that he loves him to death. DeJounte also looked really freaking good. So, lots to get excited about. Lonnie Walker looked great. These guys are going to be able to really hold down the fort. Devin Vassell did get iced out a little bit because Keldon and Lonnie and DeJounte were all playing really, really well. So a little bit of a downer for Vassell if you wanted to cut him in a season-long league, or you probably can't use him again in DFS. With the Wolves, we saw a little Jake Layman start. Pretty irrelevant. They're going to flip-flop starters there. Malik Beasley was really the star of the show here as D'Angelo Russell came off the bench because of a COVID testing stuff, so he should be back in the starting lineup with Rubio back on the bench. His minutes were still fine, so nothing to worry about there. Pistons-wise, really, Josh Jackson was one of the stories here. He was a story in the preseason as he's cutting into Svi Mikhailovic's minutes. Now he's cutting into DeLon Wright's minutes, which is really surprising. But Jackson, we saw Casey say he can play some too, and he will play some too. So that's going on. Looks like it's going to happen now. So props to him. Jeremy Grant, really rough start, but we knew he's going to have bad games. It's kind of what you signed up for. Moving to the fun game of the night is the Kings. Buddy Buckets winning the game on the tip-in. But the fantasy takeaway for me was Tyrese Halliburton in 30 minutes, cutting into the big men's minutes as they went with a little bit small ball forward with Harrison Barnes, despite how they tried Bagley and Holmes so much and really talked that up. But we know Tyrese Halliburton is going to cut into these guys' minutes. Nuggets, nothing really surprising going on there. Michael Porter Jr. did his thing. He's going to do that a lot. Paul Millsap getting big burn without JaMychal Green with a calf injury is very noteworthy, and Will Barton still got his run with poor Jamal Murray fouling out. We saw Barton get some run at point guard. I'm going to skip over the Blazers-Jazz blowout and talk about one of a great game to end the night. Luka Doncic scored 32, and we saw Josh Richardson have a good game. And surprise here was Brunson getting some closing minutes, but we'll see that. It's nothing really too crazy. So we know it's going to be Luka. Richardson looked really good. So that's kind of the formula for that team. And the Suns, big win for them. Booker a little sloppy, got it done. Ayton, foul trouble cost him some time. Mikal Bridges looks legit. Chris Paul, quiet line. And Cam Johnson's played more minutes than I thought too, so keep an eye on him. That's going to do it. You guys take care. Merry Christmas. Catch you later.